Estamos aqui no Hotel Lison, no Fórum Mundial de Vida Inteligente no Universo. E temos agora a honra e a satisfação de entrevistar esse simpático casal, James e Desiree Hurtak. Eles têm mais de 40 anos de experiência de militância com este fenômeno UFO, levando uma mensagem diferenciada para a construção de um novo paradigma para a nossa sociedade. James Hurtak and Ms. Desiree Hurtak, you are welcome. Thanks very much for your contribution to this Congress. I would like that you may explain for our public what is the main purpose of your work. What is the main idea would you like to transmit for us?
My work as a social scientist and cosmologist has been to look at the possibilities of life in the universe and to prepare humanity across the entire scientific spectrum for what we call a graduation into a next chapter of life.
What we see from conferences like this is that there is more and more sightings taking place. We see it everywhere from Argentina to Canada, in this hemisphere and all over the world. And there seems to be now evidence that there's more than one type of extraterrestrial intelligence. And this is what's so exciting, that we may be being visited by 4, 5, or even many more types of extraterrestrial intelligence. And it seems that they're preparing us to graduate and to be closer to them in outer space. They know that we now are gaining the technology. And when we gain the technology, that means we're going to move out into space. And we're going to move into their space. So we have to become more attuned to who they are and start learning about them.
Secondly, this is a very unique opportunity here in Brazil to bring together the specialists, the researchers, the media people that will eventually bring to the United Nations the documentation to once and for all recognize that the universe is full of life and that we are prepared to accept this greater view of the universe as cosmic citizens. And so this is a historic crossroads of bringing together knowledge from the social sciences, the planetary sciences, the psychological/spiritual dimensions of information so that we as a unified human race can go forward.
Great. And can you talk to us experiences with extraterrestrials?
Well, I have been working on this subject for 40 years. I was invited here in 1979 by General Shoa, one of the great minds of Brazil, who wrote a book called Swimming in Hyperspace, his own account of consciousness expansion. My wife, Dr. Desiree, and I have been involved with Dr. Ellen Hynek from Harvard University and all of the major minds looking at the holistic picture of contact with the higher worlds. In practical language, I have not only seen at a close range what could be called ET intelligence, but I've been able to document this for government authority, and I have brought with me at this time several documents in Portuguese and Spanish. What I'm holding now shows my work in space law. We see here a news documentation going back a few years ago from my work at the University of Uno Este in southern Brazil. The second document shows the release of principal documents in 1979 in Mexico City before government and leading journalists regarding the so-called EB specimens that the American government had in its possession at that time.
But probably one of the most exciting things is we worked as a consultant for the famous writer Sidney Sheldon. And we were working with astronaut Gordon Cooper, who in the 1950s, when he was flying on some of the top airplanes between East and West Germany, he saw a flotilla, not just one UFO, but a flotilla of extraterrestrial spacecraft. And he was in one of the top Air Force planes at the time. And he knew that this technology that he was watching was something that the U.S. nor the Russians had. So he went back and he reported it. And I think what's exciting is since he did officially report it, and he also reported it to the United Nations, what did they do with him? Did they kick him out? Did they call him crazy? No, they made him an astronaut, and he went into space. So we think there's more to the story of extraterrestrial contact, and the governments probably do know some of the connection that's taking place right now.
We've also interacted with astronaut Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man on the moon, in a documentary called Wisdom of the Wayshowers, available through our Academy for Future Science. And so we've had the opportunity to work with several of the astronauts, one of the Russian cosmonauts, and we affirm, along with Professor Pickler, that we are at a very important moment in human history where we must bring all of this information together from a positive view of our future.
Great. We have been seeing at the television program History Channel very intensive information about UFO, extraterrestrial in the past, and so on. Would our society been passing through a kind of conscientization, kind of preparation for understanding our origin better than we have been doing normally by the official science?
I believe it's, as you said, we have gone through an orientation period of now some 70 years. And we have been able to go beyond lower phenomena into the more important aspects of the psychological, the philosophical, and the spiritual reasons behind the different types of visitation. And this will be reflected in several textbooks written by the specialists that are gathered here at this very important forum. Namely, where we go from this point on will require a holistic vision, a future medicine, future sociology, future political science, of how we will live in outer space, how we will adapt to other habitats, and how we will see ourselves as members of a galactic community, or as the ancient philosophers said, Homo universalis, universal humanity.
So we agree that probably extraterrestrials have been visiting our planet for thousands of years. We've worked in Egypt, we've worked in the Far East, and there seems to be evidence of at least the understanding that these other levels of intelligence also had visited our planet. But it does appear that right now there's more and more. In fact, in Canada, from 2011 to 2012, the sightings actually doubled. We believe this all started back in the time when we started releasing our own more advanced technology, such as even our nuclear weapons. And that's why the very first sightings were close to also Roswell, New Mexico. This is a famous sighting. Of course, there's also sightings over Washington State and other places, but the Roswell was very, very important, and I think probably one of the first that was covered up by the United States government. And with that said, there seems to be an advance intelligence that's trying to get us the technology, the understanding, so that we, when we're ready, when we really take those steps off planet Earth, we will meet with them and we'll encounter them and we'll be able to work with them together. Now, there can be other forms of intelligence that don't seem to be so positive, but we feel that there are certain intelligences that are here to help us, to watch us, and to sometimes give us even the technology to move us forward.
Do you feel that we are now really more open, the society are more open for comprehending, understanding this phenomena?
Well, this is the age of Steven Spielberg, and we've had breakthroughs by many of the great minds in media and in computer graphics that have allowed a younger generation of human beings to see the possibilities that are no longer science fiction. But it's a reality that has gone beyond science fiction. And we want to use this as an opportunity to congratulate you, Wilson Pickler, for the important role you played last year at the Citizens' Hearing in Washington, D.C., along with another associate, A.J. Javert, in recognizing the important role that Brazil is playing in bringing this greater knowledge to the world community. It is our hope that Brazil will be the most important contributory to UN documentation that will open up a new era of political, social, and scientific understanding of our destiny in space.
Right, so there isn't almost one country in the world that hasn't had some sort of sighting, and now people with their cell phones are taking pictures all over the world. But Brazil, like Mexico, is really quite advanced, that I think the people are very much ready for what's next, for accepting the fact that we are not alone in the universe. So there's, I think, fewer skeptics here in Brazil and in Mexico than you find in many other places of the world. But certainly we are on the verge of cosmic contact.
Once a big television program here in Brazil called Fantástico asked for the population. It goes on air Sunday night at about 9 o'clock. So there are many people seeing this program, at about 50 million of spectators. So they asked, do you believe in extraterrestrials? Call this number. If you don't believe, call this another number. And the believing people won this research, how you say, consulting, public consulting. Yes, it was really interesting because people, they have this hope that we are not alone in the universe. So I would like to finish our interview asking you one thing. Do you feel yourself, you both, happier because our theses are now being more accepted?
Most definitely, we are on the crossroads of realizing that we have cosmic cousins or counterparts that can give us scientific understanding of how we must use new energy sources for travel. We are working with those from other dimensional sources of knowledge, according to computer documents that I've studied, that have given us an understanding of how we can adapt our mechanisms of human life to other habitats in other planetary spheres, other solar systems. And now we're beginning to understand through astrophysics and cosmology that there are extrasolar planets like our planet. And so it is certainly a logical possibility that life that has gone beyond where we are in the galactic quagmire of evolution would have answers and understandings that would help us make this quantum change in a very positive sense.
And it not only gives us hope, but it also gives hope to the planet, because people are concerned about the environment, weather changes, you have tornadoes and hurricanes and volcanoes, and some people will consider it a doomsday. But when you realize that we are not alone in the universe, it gives us all the potential of not being stuck on planet Earth, eventually evolving into cosmic citizens and being part of a greater universe. And that's hope for everyone.
Do you know what I feel talking to you? That you are very prepared with a big and good background in this field. And when they start accepting the ideas, you are already coming with new ideas. Congratulations. Thank you very much for your interview.
Professor Wilson Plickler, we are honored, and we dedicate our conversation to General Uchoa, one of the great minds of Brazil. Blessings to all of you, and keep looking positively at the stars.